Black men have no interest in improving the black community, and they give excuse after excuse as to why it is not their responsibility. Black women must always remember that the main goal of black men is to get to the white community. And that is why most black men will say that there is no black community. Because if there's no black community, then there's nothing for them to do. That's why as soon as they can afford it, they move to the white community and never look back. And I know that we all want to live in safe communities, and that includes black women. However, the difference between what black women want in the black community and what black men want is that black women want the black community to thrive and to be safe, and for black people not to have to live in white communities and not to be dependent on white men for our needs. Black men, on the other hand, go out of their way to live among white people and are comfortable in acceptance of their subjugation and oppressed position. This is a panel of 8 black men and 2 white men. I don't know why the 2 white men are there, because they cannot engage in a well-meaning discussion on this subject. But the discussion among the 8 black men will help you understand why there has been no improvement in the black community since we stepped off the plantation. The discussion is about something Dr. Umar Johnson said on a recent podcast.
Pookie and Ray Ray shouldn't exist. And the only reason why Pookie and Ray Ray exist because we're not in the community making those boys the men they need to be. Do you see that? And she don't get a Pookie if you didn't allow a Pookie.
But she got an Eli. She ain't come to Eli. She went to Pookie. And that's what we're trying to say.
She wouldn't have had a Pookie if we didn't allow one.
I worked too hard in my life.
She wouldn't have had a Pookie if we didn't allow one.
But Dr. Umar,
men supposed to make the raise the boys.
Right. We as men is holding other men accountable for the same thing that you're talking about right now.
What are we doing for the young brothers in the street? So
what you mean, mentoring them? Now I mean he's a great father.
Mm-hmm. I ain't talking about that's individual. That's good, but that's individualism. Yeah. What are we doing collectively as men to change the trajectory for black boys in the streets right now?
I
Nothing.
We're being
but talking shit. At the end of the day, if I'm gonna call myself a man, the ultimate responsibility for reconstruction of the black community rests with me. Yes, they have a role. Yes, they have responsibility. But as a man, as a leader, to say I can't fix this shit unless she changes, that's not the definition of a man. And I'm telling you, black men are responsible for her being masculine because we have not helped her raise them children. She got masculine because she had to become masculine in order to deal with the rape, the abuse, the domestic violence, the disappointments that men had in her life, and also raising those kids and having to take care of herself all at the same time. The black woman has been the be-all, in-all in our community for half of a century, and now we want to turn around and say because she didn't do it perfectly enough or remain feminine enough when she had to absorb our responsibilities plus her own, that's insensitive and disingenuous.
Oh my God.
There were 2 men on the panel who made the most problematic statements. The first one was this 50-year-old plus man who you would think had a little more wisdom, and it seems that the other men look up to him. But he went on a rampage about unsubstantiated reasons why black women are the problem, and he gave reason after reason why black men can't and shouldn't help the black community. He was so focused on black women that he couldn't see the problematic statements he was making. The other problematic black man was this one. Most of the men on the panel simply repeat the same talking points as they have been for years, that the problem is black women, that she chose a Pookie to have a child with, that black women kicked them out of the house, and feminism. These black men are a representation of the men who have no interest in improving the black community, and when anyone tries to inject change in the norm, black men attack. And what this panel of black men has revealed is that we're never going to see improvements in the community. We never have, and we never will if we wait on them. And the easiest thing for them to do is to remain neutralized and to blame black women.
I'm gonna keep it a bean. Fuck your kids. I'm sorry. It's not my job to slide in and tell you how many boys you got. How many do they need this? No. Go to their daddy. Because I love how you brought up the fact of there shouldn't be no Pookie and Ray Rays and said they shouldn't exist anyway. And who raised the Pookie and Ray Ray? Because she had to raise them by herself because she had a baby with a Pookie and Ray Ray. But I'm supposed to slide in and fix shit? I'm supposed to try to go in your neighborhood and raise your son when I got my own kids to worry about? Fuck your kids. I'm sorry. What? Matter of fact, it's your job to go get his daddy and help you raise your son. But don't come back to me and tell me I got to do it through some type of charity work or some type of community program. There's plenty of them. There's my brother's keeper. There's the Big Brother programs. There's the YMCA. There's the football programs and sports, and there's coaches all over the place. And you gonna still say we ain't doing nothing?
Man, what the fuck was you just talking about? You said a whole bunch of bullshit, and you said the same thing 30 times, and it was all wrong every single time you said it. This is the thing, bro. See, y'all get on these internets, bro, and y'all like to quote-unquote hold women accountable, but y'all never hold men accountable. All of the issues that go into the black community are the black man's fault. The problem is we like to outsource the responsibility. We blame politicians. We blame police. We blame the women. We blame every fucking body but ourselves. You niggas want to drop your nuts when it comes to women, but not when it comes to building a community. Not when it comes to building infrastructure. Not when it comes to helping little niggas that you niggas be scared of. If you pussy, just say that, bro.
I ain't a pussy. I got a place. They got a place for them.
I'm just saying, I'm talking about anybody, not just you.
We got a place for them.
So, you niggas always complain and use this as a political football, but you never ask what works and how you can make it work even more. Programs work. So when you outsource that responsibility, the only person that they will listen to is no longer there. They're not listening to no fucking woman.
I got a question. Who did we?
They're not listening to mom, bro. That's not mom's job. That's your job. And every time y'all make this argument about taking care of your own household, the problem is, nigga, you got to step outside. Pookie wouldn't exist if we did our job.
Yes, he will. Because there's always somebody that's going to be doing.
How does Pookie come to be? Pookie comes to be because you niggas on the internet talk about single moms, right? Y'all talk about the single mom side, but y'all don't talk about the fact that dad is not there to be the disciplinarian.
Exactly.
Install structure in the household.
Who is that dad?
How can we shit on the women? And I'm not wearing no cape for nobody. How can we shit on the moms? But not hold the dads responsible, bro. I didn't go left because my mom was there. I went left because my dad wasn't.
It has become so natural in these men's minds that it's okay for black fathers to abandon their children, and the conversation never leads to these black men being responsible.
Bro, okay, so what if the daddy is dead? So then what?
So we gonna talk about the daddy being dead versus, come on now, bro. Come on now. We ain't talking about the extenuating circumstance where the daddy is dead. We're talking about
I'm gonna be 45 this year and I still ain't found my daddy. So what? What's the solution for me? What was the solution for me? What would have stopped me from getting shot?
What I would have said is that your mama shouldn't have made down with a man that didn't want to be there.
But he was a military nigga. He went to the military and got hooked on drugs in the military. So what are you talking about?
Okay,
he wasn't a piece of shit. He got to the military.
Okay, so she made a baby with him before. So what? She made a baby with him out of wedlock. Then he went off to the military and then got on
so
drugs.
you talking pie in the sky and you
I'm not asking. That's a question.
Once again, that's why there are people who fix shit and people who sit on the sideline and criticize shit.
This particular black man, and many like him, dislike black women. So no matter the situation, he will blame the black woman for it. And because they don't like black women, they don't like her children. And you can clearly hear the disdain in his voice.
You a sideline nigga, and you ain't talking about fixing.
I asked you a question. I said, so your mama went and made a baby with a dude that she was not married to, and he ran off to the military.
Why ain't you talking about the man who went and made a baby and then he went to the military and left and never came back?
So your mama made a baby with a Pookie and Ray Ray.
He was not a Pookie.
They try to separate themselves from each other so that the ones who believe that they're better can look down on those who they label Pookie or Ray Ray, when in reality, they're all wallowing in the same pot of uselessness and degeneracy, and that they were part of the systematic problem. And I agree.
point of the matter is, I'm just going to say it one more time. It is our job. Black boys will only listen
My
to
only
black
problem is this.
men.
So after I built my
We have
kids up, I
programs
got them reading at a higher level than everybody in the neighborhood. I'm sorry, my kids are not going to play with your degenerate kids. I'm taking my kids out of that situation and be around other children that's at their level. I'm not going to I'm not going to sacrifice my kids so your kids could get better. I'm sorry. I'm not going to have my house in the hood where I'm doing my lawn. I got my siding up to par and yours looking raggedy, across the street looking raggedy. And then guess where they're going to come in when they hungry? They're going to come knocking on my door? No, that is not happening. I'm not sacrificing my kids to better the whole neighborhood. No, I'm going to take my kids to a better neighborhood.
So this black man doesn't want his black children around the next black man's children because his black children is not good enough to be around the other black man's black children. This is white supremacist talking points at its best. This shows that not only do black men hate black women, they also hate other black men, and they also judge each other by the white man's standard. That is why they developed an individualistic mindset, and they can never work together.
It ain't like we can shake somebody up and get them in line when we see their kids doing bad. Who are you talking about? Don't you can't even talk. You can't even talk to kids now. Crazy. Kids know they can call authorities and they'll lie on. You forget about your neighbor trying to correct the kid because you'll see the mother. What you say to my son? You want me to lead you guys? There has to be followers first. It becomes a circular argument because you talk about programs, not stepfathers. I get it. But Humble Dad, you know they're not signing up. Humble Dad, the Sigma Beta Club, it's empty. The Kappa League, it's empty.
They're afraid of the children, and they don't know how to get the women in the community to follow their leadership. Leading and building the community means starting businesses, building quality schools, bringing in grocery stores and clinics, recreation centers, and after-school programs. None of these things require the participation of women, and because they must blame everything on women, they never get to this conversation.
And I'm not a member of Phi Beta Sigma. You are, Humble Dad, and you know they not running to sign up for that club. Thousands of what I call perfect men of Phi Beta Sigma offering their assistance, and they can't even get the women to bring the boys to sign up.
So how many excuses have we heard so far? These men are feminine, weak, full of excuses, and useless. And again, this is why so many black communities around the country are in depressed conditions. Does he actually want us to believe that the men on the panel don't attempt to guide the boys because their mothers won't bring them to the programs?
More black adult men do not have kids. Most black adult men ain't no baby daddy.
Black men have a 72% rate of abandonment of their children. So just because they decide not to be in their children's lives doesn't mean that they don't have children.
So what we're saying is, now that I'm lost control and I don't have any help, for the women that even have the ego or the humility to ask for help, which is a slim to none in and of itself, can you good guys who I ignored when I was in my sexual prime and didn't give you no play, come help? So what we're saying is, now that I'm lost control and I don't have any help, for the women that even have the ego or the humility to ask for help, which is a slim to none in and of itself, can you good guys who I ignored when I was in my sexual prime and didn't give you no play, come help?
What is a woman being in her sexual prime and him not having access to her have to do with the conversation? And are these men still feeling hurt that they were rejected 30 years ago? And that's where this "I'm a good guy now, so now she wants me" attitude comes from? At this point, if I could think of a better adjective to use for men like this, I would use it. But all I can think of is that they're just stupid. How else can you describe them?
Play, come help me with this badass baby of mine because his baby daddy ain't around no. Come on, man.
If these are the so-called good black men, then it's no surprise why the black community is in a state of emergency. The bar has been set so low in the black community that not having a criminal record and maintaining an average paying job gives these men the belief that they are exceptional, when in reality, they're nothing more than loudmouth YouTubers. It is not a woman's job to know how to raise a son, but it is her job to know how to raise her daughter. And isn't it interesting that the mother, the parent who stayed, raised her daughters to be independent and college educated? Just imagine the difference it would make in the boys if their fathers decided to stay. If these are a representation of a good guy in the community, do you really want them mentoring your children?